And a lot of people talking about, you know, he from New Orleans, he black, he this. They going back.
Yeah.
They going back.
It's history.
Okay, well, who gonna go forward? I mean, anybody could go back and pull up somebody past this, that, and that, right? Now, after they finish doing that, when you open this Bible, right? And then out of all the names he chose, why Leo the 14th? Why that one?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So now, when you read and study the Bible, and you get in the book of Revelation, you got 7 trumpets, you have 7 bowls. That's 14, right?
Oh, okay.
Now, in between the trumpets and the bowl is going to be the take place of the rapture, right? So now, I always tell you about China, Russia, and the United States. This choice of the Pope is going to put us right in line in what's going on in this Bible pertaining to Revelation. Okay, I'm gonna show you something. Sunday she preached from Colossians the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 3, right? It says, if you be risen with Christ, you know, keep your mind on heavenly things. Okay, got that. Wednesdays, because Wednesdays is where you are really being taught. Because we're using the book of Acts, we're using where Paul and Barnabas taught the people for a year. So we're strictly dealing with teaching, right? Now, on Friday, we're dealing with end time. Watch how we could go back in the 3rd chapter of Colossians, the 2nd chapter of Colossians, the 15th chapter of Romans, and tie all that, 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, and tie it all into Matthew, which takes us back to Revelation.
That's what I'm saying. Now that sounds like a whole lot for me, right? But we know it's not for you. So how is you gonna teach us, how you gonna teach us to get, you know?
Okay, I could go to Colossians and walk you back to Matthew. Or I could go to Matthew, take you to Romans, take you to Corinthians, then take you to Colossians, right? Because if I take you in Matthew, you're going to be able to read it. Go to Matthew, I'm going to show you something. Go to Matthew. We're going to go to Matthew. Wednesday we didn't go to Matthew because on Wednesdays we dealing with structure. But on Fridays we dealing with end times, right? Go to Matthew 24 chapter. And watch how it all lines up. Matthew 24. Matthew 24, and we'll start 13, right? Matthew 24 and 13. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read it. Watch this. Matthew 24 and 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Right? Okay. Verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come, right? Now, what gospel?
The gospel of Jesus Christ,
The word. And
the death, burial, and the resurrection.
what gospel though?
Now,
Because it got all different guys.
okay. We're in Matthew. They're asking Jesus about the end of the time, right? Jesus had not died yet. So he hadn't died, he hadn't been buried. Okay, so what gospel?
The gospel of Jesus.
Of him.
Let's read it again. And this gospel of the kingdom shall not be preached in all the world, shall be preached in all the world unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by the prophet, spoken by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whoso understand. I mean, you said it right. Go back to Romans. That I'm not about to build on another man's foundation. I'm about to go to a whole group of people who never heard of Christ. So if you hear me say the end cannot come until everybody heard the gospel. Jesus said, in this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, then the end gonna come. So now, if I'm following a bunch of church people, a bunch of holy people, to these people who already know God, who ever heard about God, what about those people? Because the end cannot come until everybody done heard of the gospel. That's why Paul said, I'm going to some people who never ever heard of Christ. So now, if I'm reading Paul's letters and I've heard of Christ, I'm going to get confused. Because he's talking to a bunch of heathens, a bunch of people who never heard of Christ. So now, watch this. I put a little clipping out about 144,000, right? Okay. The man come on, and his reply was, 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 4 is 9. Then he put the 0, so he said it was 9. Yeah. 9 is dealing with spirituality, right? Okay, cool, I'm not arguing with that, right? He said, but they don't understand. I said, who are they, right? Yeah. So he used one verse. He went in the 8th chapter of Luke. He used where Luke was talking about the sower, right? So now, how you going to tell me about the sower? Sunday, when she preached Sunday, she used Jesus. I use Luke, Matthew, or Mark. He's explaining to them. Jesus said, if you don't get this parable, you won't get no parable. But this is not for everybody. It's not for everybody to understand, right? Go to Mark. We'll come back to Matthew. Go to Mark the 4th chapter. And I'm going to tie it all in, right? So my reply was to teach them. So we're going to run into a bunch of teachings where a lot of people just be running their mouth.
You say the 4th chapter?
The 4th chapter of Mark. It's the same thing as the 13th chapter of Matthew, the same thing as 8th chapter of Luke.
See, that part, that's how we got to get it.
Huh?
That, like you said, is in the 13th chapter where you were just at, and then it's in Luke, then it's in, so that's what I have to do. Like, get it all together. So that's what I be trying to do.
Oh, that's going to take time.
That's what I'm saying.
But none of us ain't got that.
That's what I'm saying. Don't see, I can't write it down, and I'm trying to
was taught that. And see, none of us never was taught that.
But we need it for me.
Yeah, well, that,
I can't speak for everybody.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, it's there.
Yeah.
Because that way I can understand.
Well, like I say, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, them three wrote about the same things.
Yeah.
They dealt with parables. John didn't deal with parables. John dealt with the deity of Christ.
Yeah.
He didn't get into all those parables. He didn't get into all those miracles. So when you read it, I mean, it's just going to take time. Mark 4 and 10. And
Still with the same thing. 4 and 10.
You have Mark?
4th chapter, the 10th verse.
10th verse. What it says?
Go when he was alone, those around him with the 12 asked him about the parable. And he said, it has been given to know the outside, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest they should turn and their
Yeah, I can understand that plan. I don't do all that, but I do the communion. I do that.
Right.
Because I know my heart. Don't do that. Yeah, but I am working.
Back to the scripture, right? Watch it. Mark 4:10. Ask of him, right? The 12 disciples with him, asking him parable. And he said to them, unto you it is given to know the mystery. What is mystery?
the mystery of the kingdom.
The secrets.